Greetings, everyone. Thank you for joining us today and participating in our webinar with David Pashayan and Melissa Henry from Nuance Communications, the company behind Dragon speech recognition software. My name is Jessica Wetzel, and I am a Naval Mart's e-commerce manager. And the topic for today is how students with RSI, or accessibility needs, can increase productivity using Dragon speech recognition software. You may not know this, but Dragon is the world's best-selling speech-to-text software. And while I was working with Melissa and David to prepare for this webinar, I was fascinated to learn that Nuance employs more than 1,200 speech scientists and researchers to create their products. And that got me even more excited to bring you this webinar today because it's sponsored by a company that truly understands speech-to-text software. But before I turn over the time to Melissa and David, I just want to review a few quick housekeeping items. The first is that we would like to ask that you submit your questions via the questions interface and go to webinar, as everyone will be muted during the session. So you can submit your question at any time during the webinar. You don't have to wait till the end. But we will be answering the questions at the end. So you can certainly submit your question as it comes up in the presentation, and then at the end we'll take about 15 minutes to answer all of the questions that come in. The webinar is being recorded, and a link to it will be posted on the navalmart.com website, as well as emailed to you for future playback. And along with that post-webinar email, you will receive a PDF of the slide deck. And as you may know, everyone who attends today's webinar will receive a coupon code for 10% off their Dragon Professional, Academic, or Premium speech recognition software purchase. So your coupon code will also be in the email that you will receive after the webinar. And if you could let us allow 2 to 3 business days for us to compile the information and get it to you. But yeah, you will definitely receive a follow-up. So without further ado, I'm going to turn the time over to Melissa and David. Melissa, it's all yours.
All right. Well, thank you so much, and I really appreciate everyone joining the webinar today. My name is Melissa Henry with Nuance, and today we're speaking about how Dragon NaturallySpeaking is successfully utilized as an assistive technology. Dragon is used by those with a broad range of physical challenges. It can range from carpal tunnel to RSI, multiple sclerosis, paralysis even. And Dragon speech recognition reduces the pain and frustration of daily computer tasks by reducing the number of keystrokes and mouse clicks needed to create documents or manage applications or complete general work, and it's all by voice. Dragon's also widely used as an assistive technology for those with learning challenges as well, and we'll definitely dig into that today. So just to share the agenda with you guys, we'll give you an overview about who is Nuance, what we've been doing in terms of speech recognition, and introduce how speech recognition actually works. Dig into speech recognition as an assistive technology in both the general workforce and in education, followed on by a live demonstration. Then Dave Pashayan will do the case study review, and we'll follow up back up with a summary. I'll pass it back over to Naval Mart, and then we will do the Q&A. So without further ado, Nuance, I'm not sure if many of you are familiar with Nuance, but really our mission statement, our goal is really reinventing the relationship between how people interact with technology. So we really advocate everything that's second nature by simplifying this interaction with technology and machines. We convert burdensome tasks and workflows into seamless experiences by utilizing your voice through voice commands. And so if you sit back and think about, what did you learn how to do first? Did you learn how to type, or did you learn how to speak? And most likely we all learned how to speak and communicate using our voice first. I had an opportunity to sit in a Microsoft seminar, and this was with the former CEO, Steve Ballmer, and it was really interesting because it was like 8 months ago, and he was talking about how the future of technology really is the artificial intelligence and us being able to communicate. And it resonated so close to home because that's what Nuance does. That's our our core. And we had a corporate meeting. We had a special guest come in from France, and he's a robotic engineer, one of the best on the planet. And they're utilizing our technology inside of this robot. And it wasn't just you asked the robot a question and it answered. It actually has personality and life to it. So it's really just a great opportunity to be talking to you today about how Dragon really helps us in assistive needs, as we're going to see it and speech recognition and voice control become more mainstream in our daily lives. So you may not know this, but we are actually, our technology is in a lot of areas where you might be utilizing it in your daily life today and not even know it. We are the backbone of Siri, so when you're speaking to Siri, that's our voice recognition engine. You may be familiar with Ford Fusion. There's a Microsoft Sync inside that car where you can speak to the car, change the radio station, change the temperature controls. That's also Nuance Technology. We have relationships with Comcast and Samsung where you can voice activate and control your television set. And I'm not sure if you've maybe seen the new commercials from Samsung with the wearable watches where you can actually speak to your watch, kind of like the Jetsons and Star Trek. All of that voice technology is Nuance. We are the market leader, worldwide market leader in voice recognition technologies. You also may be utilizing our technology when you call in, for example, to check your flight information on an airline, and they're asking you what your flight number is, and you speak it, and then it routes you to the appropriate menu. That is also Nuance Technology. So as Jessica mentioned, we have over 1,200 voice and language scientists and engineers, and we're taking these data elements and really working very hard to make this voice technology seamless, as I mentioned earlier, as well as very, very accurate. So some of you may have been familiar with Dragon NaturallySpeaking in the past, and I'm really excited to show you what it's like today. So just a little history about Dragon. Dr. James Baker really laid out the description of a speech understanding system called Dragon in 1975, so that's quite some time ago. And then in 1982, they formed a corporation, Dragon Systems, and this kind of dates it, but the Dragon Dictate was the very first product released for a DOS system. But in 1997, that's when Dragon became the first continuous speech recognition, meaning that you could speak naturally versus in cryptic words. And then in 2000, Nuance acquired all these assets and really brought it to a new life, a new market. And again, looking at those 1,200 engineers and speech scientists, really see what we've been able to do with speech recognition technology today is really incredible. So who's using Dragon? We have users in every facet that you can imagine. So we are actually, our technology is being utilized in 75% of all hospitals and clinics. So when you go to your doctor, 9 times out of 10, or oftentimes they're going to be going back to their office and dictating the notes that they've discussed with you over the course of your visit. We have financial advisors. We're here to talk about RSI accessibility as well, so we're going to hone in on that. But really, in any type of work, you can use Dragon. I personally use Dragon. I'm obviously in channel management and customer service and sales, but I use Dragon every day to do emails and other things. So I don't want to live without it, that's for sure. So digging in on how does speech recognition work? So the speech recognition software uses your voice, the human voice, as the main interface between you and your computer. Unlike the call center applications or directory assistants, and I mentioned Siri and Samsung and all those other areas where we're in, those are what we call speaker-independent models. So all of our voices are speaking to the same engine, and that engine is trying to decipher what we're saying and transcribe that into text. With Dragon NaturallySpeaking, it's actually what we call a speaker-dependent model. So Dragon will create a unique voice profile for each user, and it contains information about the unique characteristics of that person's voice, along with a customized set of words or vocabulary, and any specific information, including software settings and personalized voice commands that can be created. So when you actually create your profile, Dragon will start with a general model of how English is spoken in the U.S. or other languages. We support up to 6 languages. And then it will adapt to how you speak and what words you use. So this way it is accommodating users with varying accents, varying speech patterns, and allows you to dictate naturally. So there's no need to speak robotically or have long pauses. You're really speaking like you would to another individual face-to-face. And you can use Dragon to search your existing documents and emails for common words and phrases, and it'll bring those in and prepare your personal vocabulary. So we find that Dragon can be up to 99% accurate because it is using the way you pronounce words, your vocabulary, and refining itself over time. So what do you expect when you first start using Dragon? So if you imagine this middle bar here is your current productivity level typing. And I look at here, we're probably past the point where we're going to take typing classes. At least I am with my age. And I took a typing test a couple weeks ago, and I thought I was a pretty quick typer. And then I took the test, and I learned I'm not. The average actually is 40 words per minute. I ended up at 60 words per minute. But still, I use Dragon because it's so much faster for me. So even those people who may be very, very speedy typists, the Dragon converts up to 160 words per minute. I know I cannot type that fast. So, but this is kind of the expectation success curve, because you're learning a new technology, you're learning how to use a new system. So you will see a minor dip in your productivity in terms of typing, but once you get used to Dragon, and after 6 to 8 hours of good use, your productivity level can go through the roof, and the typing is going to be immensely faster, or excuse me, speaking is going to be immensely faster than typing. So now that we've set the baseline for Dragon and how it works, of course we'll go into the live demonstration in a moment, I wanted to take this time to really dig into how Dragon is being utilized as an assistive technology in the workforce as well as in education. And the history of Dragon, we reviewed a brief history of Dragon, but it really came to market as an assistive technology. That was its core function when it first came to market. And many people are, they face challenges when trying to communicate, especially those with disabilities. And Nuance, as we mentioned earlier, committed to really changing the way people interact with technology. But we really want to help everyone gain barrier-free access to widely used information and communication technologies. And many of our solutions have important applications in accessibility and assistive technology, including our text-to-speech and OCR for the visually impaired, speech input for users who can't operate a standard keyboard, automatic transcription of voicemails for deaf or mute users, and furthermore. As an assistive technology with Dragon, it really is utilized for those with a broad range of physical challenges, which can rate from carpal tunnel to RSI, again to multiple sclerosis and paralysis. And Dragon really reduces the frustration and pain of daily computer tasks by reducing the keystrokes and mouse clicks needed to create or manage those applications, as I mentioned earlier. So with people with special needs using Dragon, one example that I thought was really interesting is your Dragon can do everything you can do with a mouse click, a cursor, or keyboard. So we have users that will come to their station in the morning and say, "Good morning, Dragon." And in the background, Dragon will then launch all their applications that they need to use for the day. Again, we have paraplegics, quadriplegics, low vision, blind. It runs the gamut of people using Dragon, and it really keeps them employed and keeps them doing their daily work, and in the education space, keeping up with their peers. So I know that we have a closed line, but I will ask a question. Dragon can do everything but one thing in terms of working with your computer. So I'll let you think about that for a moment, and I'll come back and answer that. But in the meantime, when you're looking at the possible pain of carpal tunnel or things like that, really you take for granted how you interact with computer, maybe creating documentation, sending emails and things like that. With Dragon, you can definitely just speak and type. A few years back, I think it was maybe eight years ago, I had an accident and I fell and I hurt my right hand, and I'm right-handed. So back then I remember having to hunt and peck on my keyboard at work, and I wish I knew of Dragon because it would have saved me a lot of anguish and pain. So going back to that question, what can Dragon do? Dragon can do everything but one thing, and that one thing that Dragon can't do is actually turn your computer on. But everything else you possibly can imagine doing with your computer, Dragon can do. And the reason Dragon can't turn the computer on is because the computer needs to be on for the software to be running. So if your computer's on, Dragon can do everything. You can do everything with your voice. So it's pretty incredible. So interestingly enough, the widespread use of computers in the workplace really has contributed to the rise of what we call musculoskeletal disorders, and we'll abbreviate those as MSDs for short. And those include repetitive stress injuries, or RSIs. And an MSD occurs when muscles or tendons are repeatedly overused or forced into an unnatural position, such as keyboarding, clicking. Now we're doing a lot of texting. That repetitive motion can cause strain and damage to your muscles and tendons that are in your fingers, hands, wrists, and arms. And according to OSHA, which is an agency of the U.S. Department of Labor, MSDs are one of the largest job-related injury illness problems in the U.S. today. And it's reported that MSDs account for 30% of all workplace injuries requiring time away from work. So we take a look at that, and there's a statistic as well with workers just with carpal tunnel syndrome, which is one of the most prevalent types of RSI, required an average of 28 days away from work. So imagine using Dragon and incorporating that into the workforce. It really enables people with these limitations to regain the ability to use their computer and resume work on a daily basis. So it really stops the pain and frustration of typing, and you use your voice to create and edit documents, send emails. Controlling your mouse, you can use commands such as move mouse lower left, and mouse double click. You have the ability to create a mouse click action just simply by speaking. And controlling all your desktop applications, you'll see me open Microsoft Word with my voice, send emails with my voice during the demonstration. There's a lot of things that you can do. And I have a girlfriend that works for a large insurance company, and the way that their applications are set up requires a lot of mouse scrolling. And she actually had surgery on her shoulder because of that, because of 12 years of constant scrolling up and down with a mouse, and it just became unbearable. So Dragon can also help eliminate these RSI injuries by being proactive. If someone doesn't have carpal tunnel, doesn't have an RSI injury, still using Dragon in the day-to-day life of their work, it can eliminate these problems. So now I'm going to just switch gears just a little bit and speak more into Dragon in the education space and how Dragon is utilized in learning environments, diverse learning environments, and those that also have accessibility needs. So we already chatted about financial advisors, lawyers, police officers, field reporters, insurance agents, doctors. They're all using Dragon as well. When we look at how it's being utilized in education, the students with physical disabilities, especially those who do not have use of their hands for keyboarding, they'll use Dragon for accessibility purposes. And it's also a great solution for students, teachers, administrative staff that are suffering from those repetitive stress injuries that we talked about before. The students also that may have some certain learning disabilities, especially those with language-based learning disabilities like dyslexia and working memory issues, use Dragon to help them with their writing by taking the focus off the mechanics of the composition. So they don't have to sit there and think on how they need to compose. They just freeform get their thoughts out of their head onto their paper using their voice, or onto the computer using their voice. And there's such as the universal design for learning is a set of principles that require the curriculum gives all students the equal opportunity to learn. So if a student does have a disability, Dragon really helps them keep up with their workload. It gives them that ability to learn, and it puts them on an even playing field with their peers. Interestingly enough, English language learners, so English as a second language or emergent bilinguals, they use Dragon to harness their oral skills and to advance their academic writing skills. And we'll talk about that further in a moment. More often than not, secondary business education and computer application students are learning to use speech recognition software as an input technology that's going to prepare them for the workforce. I really think that speech is going to become so prevalent in our workforce. It's already become prevalent in our private lives. When we talk about the use of Siri, we talk about voice recognition in your car and your GPS systems. And as we're getting accustomed to using our voice, it is going to just transition significantly into the workforce. And we've already seen that technology bubble start to pop. And where Dragon can be a play in academic, outside of the diverse learning requirements or accessibility, it's this area where students are being taught to work with the tools that they're likely going to use in the workforce. And a lot of education institutions are using Dragon in that capacity, learning how to use your voice to work with computers. It's interesting to me to kind of see where we've evolved, because I'll be dating myself, but back in high school, when I started high school, my class was the very last class that could choose between taking typing on typewriters or computers. And I chose computers. I'm glad I did, because I don't use a typewriter ever. So I think it's really going to be the same moving forward as we learn to use our voice instead of typing. So it's kind of going back to, again, what we learned to do first. And then finally, teachers use Dragon to streamline the administrative aspects of their jobs. For example, they can grade assignments, they can do their preparation, create their curriculums. And one of my colleagues, his wife, was writing a doctorate, and it was 170 pages, and she goes, I need to use Dragon. And so she used Dragon and got it done in lightning speed. And then she continued to use that for her assignments and blogging on Blackboard and things like that. So it just becomes a second nature once you learn how to use the technology. So students, how they're using speech recognition technology, taking notes for papers and assignments, Dragon really gives them time by taking their notes and speaking into either a digital recorder or just straight into the PC. I actually take notes during my meetings, and I come back and I open up our CRM system where we put all our customer management information, and I just read all my notes straight into Dragon, and it just saves me so much time. They also can utilize this to do their papers and presentations, and makes it really easy to edit and format documents by voice. And just, again, 160 words a minute, you could speak, and then Dragon will just be able to transcribe that. You can also do internet searches. I'll show you an example. I'll search for Naval Mart on the web when I do my demonstration. But also, one of the key things, I think, is you can use our voice to send emails and instant messages to classmates and teachers, which really helps enable them to be able to participate fully in group projects that require that ongoing communication, collaboration, and sharing of information. So research and practical experience really show us, they continue to show us the value of speech recognition for helping students with learning disabilities. And those disabilities often interfere with their ability to read, write, and spell. But realistically, as I mentioned earlier, speech recognition can be used by students of all abilities, as well as administrators. Dictating your thoughts, being able to take your thoughts and turn the speech into correctly spelled text, because Dragon never makes a spelling mistake. We also have the ability to help students get a better sense of their writing flow by enabling them to read and reread sentences as it develops before their eyes on the computer screen. So they're continuing to learn and seeing how things are written. When you think about students as English as a second language, Dragon can help them articulate what they're saying, learn how to spell words because it's being transcribed directly in front of them. They can do what we call a playback feature, so they could hear it being read back to them, and that helps reinforce the learning and sentence structure and pronunciation of words. This is an example of a student before they're using Dragon and how they articulated their thoughts onto paper, and then after Dragon. So, I mean, I can't even imagine how well this impacted the student, because they were able just to take their thoughts and eliminate that struggle of getting what's on their head on the paper and communicate their thoughts in writing just as easily and efficiently as they would be talking to someone in person, like a friend or a teacher. It really helps those with dyslexia. I mean, they get very, very frustrated. And you know, with Dragon, spelling and typing on this, it's really no longer a concern and no longer slows them down. And I think one of the best outcomes of this is it really helps boost that student's confidence, because they're not struggling with these types of issues any longer. They're able to keep up with their work. So you've heard me reference the read that and play that back feature, and we'll illustrate that in the demonstration. But just to share, the read that is leveraging Nuance's text-to-speech technology. So we've been talking about speech turning into text, but we can also take text that's on a screen and read that back to the user. So it's what we call a see and say approach, and it's useful for both improving word recognition and pronunciation. The play that back feature is lets students hear the dictated text in their own voice, so they can see how they're pronouncing words, or you know, thinking that a word is spelled in their own voice and then seeing that on the screen. So it really helps them to self-assess their writing and make necessary edits to improve flow, sentence structure, wording, etc. So just to recap, and we'll do a further summary after the case studies, but you know, Dragon as an assistive technology in the workforce, it's easy to use. It saves tremendous amount of time because you're able to create your reports and documentation up to 3 times faster than typing. We can create different commands and customizations to automate and streamline the manual processes for hands-free PC use. It's really accurate with Dragon accuracy rates of up to 99%. And it will revolutionize the way that, that people work, and it will also revolutionize the way that students learn. So it's really crucial to productivity, and by leveraging this power of speech, Dragon is eliminating the potentially significant personnel-related costs in terms of you know, the workers' comp, if you will, and cost of computer-related RSI injuries and similar claims. Again, in the classroom, allows the students to easily turn those thoughts into written words, improves writing fluency, and improves reading and spelling. And again, I think one of the most critical components is it gives them confidence and gains that confidence in the classroom. So I'm going to just take a couple minutes here to share a demonstration here of Dragon NaturallySpeaking. So as I mentioned earlier, you can have a multitude of devices to utilize to create that audio file for Dragon. I am using a what we call a speech mic, and it's from Philips. You can also use a USB headset. You can use a digital recorder. Dragon actually ships with a USB headset. We do have a hardware compatibility matrix list on tested and approved audio devices. So without further ado, I'll just illustrate a few things here with Dragon NaturallySpeaking. Set font to 20 points. This is Dragon NaturallySpeaking, the most advanced speech recognition technology on the planet, period. Dragon converts speech into text at speeds of up to 160 words per minute with 99% accuracy, period. This is 3 times faster than typing, period. Full Dragon NaturallySpeaking. Underline 99% accuracy. Italicized 160 words per minute. New paragraph. Dragon never makes a spelling mistake, period. Dragon can also format numeric items such as dates, comma, times, comma, percentages, comma, units of measure, ellipsis. New paragraph. For example, today is Thursday, February 27, 2014, period. If you have any questions, you can call me on my cell phone at 714-293-3363, period. New paragraph. Dragon is also intelligent enough to put words into context, period. For example, comma, whether or not the sun comes out today, the weather will be very nice, period. New paragraph. Dragon can also automatically transcribe your words into acronyms or understand an acronym and spell it out, period. For example, comma, I trained Dragon to spell out the acronym of my alma mater, period. I went to school at UCSB, period. So a couple of things I'll just highlight here is you were able to see that simply with my voice, not only was I able to dictate and have it transcribed very, very quickly, but I could do formatting. I did some bolding, italicizing, underlining. Also, we looked at the formatting here, got my phone number perfect with the dashes in there. The date is great. You can also customize it if you wanted. If I said February 27th, 2014, I could have 2/27/14 or whatever you want Dragon to do. In this instance, in the context, so you heard me speak and then Dragon didn't put anything out there yet. That's because I was continuing to speak without a pause, and we call that an utterance. So when I speak in utterances, Dragon really can put words into context. So in this example, whether or not the sun comes out today, the weather will be very nice, it spelled each instance of weather correctly for the context that it was used in. So that's an underlying intelligence of Dragon. In this instance, I said I went to school at UCSB. It's spelled out University of California, Santa Barbara. So you can easily customize a lot of things with Dragon, the vocabulary, how you're pronouncing words and training those things. We also have full integration into Microsoft Office and other applications. I'll give you an example here. Search the web for Naval Mart. I could do a lot of various things here. Search Wikipedia for, search Google, go to Yahoo Mail, whatever I need to do. Those commands are all already baked in. But if you have specific applications that that are unique to your school or your company, you can create customized commands to launch those applications and work within those applications. I'll give you an example of a command that I created. But first I'm going to send an email and then I'll show you the command. Send an email to Melissa Henry. My George Washington report. Cap that. Tab. Hi Melissa, comma, new paragraph. Please find my report on George Washington below, period. New paragraph. Insert George Washington. So this is just an example of a custom command I created. It's called Insert George Washington, and it inserted all this text, this graphic, etc. So if you're using forms or repetitive information or things like that, you can definitely do that with your voice. I could also say, select all, copy that, create a command, and it can create a command for that. So there's a lot of various things that you can do with your voice. Again, thinking back to what I mentioned in the beginning with those with really true accessibility needs that can't operate a computer at all, with the exception of their voice, they're keeping up with their workload because Dragon is able to do everything you can do with a mouse or a keyboard. The last thing I'll illustrate today is if you are using a digital recorder, or maybe you have an audio file somewhere and you want to be able to transcribe that, I'll show you how we can import files for transcription. With the professional version of Dragon, we can automatically pull folders and just take in a lot of the audio files that you've created from a digital recorder or even perhaps your smartphone app. So this was an audio file I actually created using the Dragon app on the smartphone. And I'll just go ahead and illustrate, for example, the Read That Back feature.
Dragon NaturallySpeaking provides a better way, enabling professionals to achieve higher productivity and lower costs through a flexible, efficient transcription workflow. One of the features that differentiates Dragon from...
So that's just to give you an example. Again, the Read That Back feature mentioned earlier, really lets people listen to and follow what's being read on the screen. So it helps them understand the relationship between how a word looks and how it sounds. Another one is the play that back feature. And this one's my voice, so I won't play it very long.
Dragon NaturallySpeaking provides a better way, enabling professional.
And you notice there that it had kind of the bouncing ball arrow, and that was keeping me on track with what words I was saying. And so that, again, lets people hear the dictated text in their own voice, enables English as a second language learners and other students to really self-assess their writing skills and make edits to improve workflow and sentence structure. So I just wanted to share those different capabilities to give you a high-level idea of what is capable with Dragon NaturallySpeaking. At this time, I'm going to go ahead and close out of my demonstration and turn it over to Dave Pashayan for the case study overview. So we'll go ahead and take care of that now.
Thanks, Melissa. Hello, everybody. So the first case study is about Evan Upchurch. A few years ago, Evan was a Microsoft employee working in the usability group where he wrote reports to help the product teams understand how people were using software. And when he is diagnosed with MS, his coworkers suggested that he try Dragon NaturallySpeaking. He said that Dragon enabled him to easily transition from using his hands to using his voice for nearly every aspect of computer usage. Evan started using Dragon at work, and he was very impressed by how accurate it was out of the box. Now, before he was able to type about 70 words a minute. Having MS slowed him down quite a bit until he started to use Dragon. Now, Dragon freed Evan to concentrate on his writing and not on his hands. It also allowed him to dig into his family roots in North Carolina and write a fictionalized story of a family friend. Now, he said that the book began as a way to feel productive with his newfound freedom, but now it's become a bit more. He wants to get this book published. Now, the next story is about Ben Snow. Now, like many of his generation, Arizona State University senior Ben Snow began using a computer at a very early age. But unlike many of his peers, Ben had cerebral palsy, and this caused him to hunt and peck on the keyboard until he attended a summer class at a local community college. That's where Ben learned about Dragon NaturallySpeaking. Now, he can't hold a pen or a pencil in his hand very well, which is why he started using a computer at an early age. But Dragon helps him dictate more concrete thoughts, and it helps him get his work done faster and more efficiently. And Dragon also lets him focus on content of his writing instead of constantly looking at the keyboard, which causes him to lose his train of thought. Now, with the help of Dragon, Ben earned a 3.75 GPA and admission into the Phi Theta Kappa Honor Society while attending community college. A political science communications major, Ben plans to attend a grad school and then eventually become a writer focusing on history and travel. Now, the next case study is about Nancy Blosey. Nancy's life was turned upside down when a car accident left her with a broken neck. Nancy said that she felt trapped in a broken body and was dependent on others for almost all of her daily requirements. Because Nancy was unable to use her hands to control a computer, she was forced to look at other ways for both personal and professional communication. She found the solution through Dragon, and as a result of using speech recognition, she can manage her small business from her home, dictate her notes, make entries in bookkeeping software, use spreadsheets, and even manage family schedules, and all stay connected with family and friends. She can even use popular websites and compile favorite recipes for a cookbook. Now, Dragon, which she used as an assistive technology for a computer, has also helped her get her life back. Next case study is about Dwayne French. When Dwayne was 14 and looking to beat the summer heat with some friends, he dove off of a bridge. This act alone left him a quadriplegic. And growing up, he learned to type slowly with the pencil in his right hand and using a pencil grip, but it was a very slow process. Now, entering the workforce meant that using a dictaphone recorded to complete documents was necessary for his job. And it worked well, but it required lots of handoffs and was very time and labor intensive. He started using Dragon in 1999, and ever since, he's never stopped using it. He writes all of his emails with Dragon, and he uses it with Microsoft Word and Excel and PowerPoint as he puts together documents and spreadsheets and presentations. Now, Dwayne also has several employees with disabilities who use Dragon the very same way. And as the director of the Washington State Division of Disability Determination Services, he says he couldn't oversee his employees or his budget without Dragon. And that's it. Melissa, I'm going to hand it off back to you.
Thanks so much, Dave. All right. So in summary, I just wanted to review a few of the things that we've discussed today and that Dave so eloquently illustrated through our case studies. But when you add Dragon speech recognition capabilities to your working environment, it really enables you to work hands-free when creating documents, accessing data, or navigating your desktop. And it provides a more efficient way to control a computer as less physically and cognitively taxing than other alternative input methods. By taking away some of the mechanical aspects of typing or writing, Dragon removes some of the challenges people face when trying to intelligently express their thoughts in writing. And we saw that illustrated with Brandon's work earlier. And speech recognition has really improved over the years. We see technology just over leaps and bounds just become so much more accurate and more improved. And if we think about the cell phone that you used even 5 years ago versus the cell phone you're using today, which is probably like a mini computer, you can see the differences there. And with Dragon, we're continually working very hard to make sure it's accurate and it's the best technology on the marketplace. And we're empowering our users to create documents, send emails, search the web, do all the things that I've illustrated and much more in the demonstration. And Dragon also offers a speech output capability so users can have text read to them. The system works with a lot of the popular screen readers, such as JAWS, which helps visually impaired users to work more effectively. And we've also discussed at length the impact that Dragon has on those with repetitive stress injuries, but also, again, preventing those from happening from the beginning, because Dragon can change the way people interact with their computers, allowing them to be fully productive without aggravating or creating a new condition. And Dragon Professional is Section 508 certified. So that means it's aligned with the needs of the federal agencies which face additional requirements of Section 508 of the Rehabilitation Act, which is really there designed to give disabled employees and members of the public access to information that's comparable to the access available to others. So Dragon is Section 508 certified, and that means it can help organizations meet these disability management requirements, and it complies with the U.S. government standards for ensuring software applications are accessible to people with disabilities. So this concludes the presentation portion of our webinar, and I will pass this back over to Jessica with the Naval Mart.
Thank you, Melissa. And thanks both of you, actually, David and Melissa, for a very interesting presentation and demonstration. We talked about offering a discount to people who attend the webinar, and here it is right here. Again, this will be emailed to you after the webinar, and but you could order it right now with the coupon code DRAGON10 for 10% off Dragon Professional, Academic, and Premium. And again, this will be in your email after the webinar, which will also include a link to the recording of the webinar and the slide deck, so you guys will get all of that. And I believe we can take a few questions at this point. So we have them coming in. The first one is, when you were, Melissa, you were saying that Dragon does everything besides turn your computer on. And Dan would like to know, does everything include being able to log in?
If your computer is on, you can have macros running in the background to log in. So the answer would be yes. It's the customization that would be done.
Okay. There was also just a comment made that for students with dyslexia in higher education, decoding recognition errors seems to be a serious challenge if they don't use text-to-speech errors. And so that was a comment made. Kathy would like to know, is Dragon NaturallySpeaking compatible with Kerr's Wheel 3000?
I don't have that answer off the top of my head, and I want to make sure I answer it correctly. So I will research that and Jessica get that answer back to you.
Yes, and Kathy, we do have your email address, so we can get back to you. And it might be a good idea to, we could share it with the whole group by putting together an FAQ for you guys. We have another question coming in. Is there an upgrade for earlier versions of Dragon?
We support upgrades up to 2 versions back. So right now we're on version Dragon 12.5. So if you have any instance of version 10 or 11, there is an upgrade path to the 12.5 version.
Okay. What type of headset would I use with Dragon?
I'd be happy to show you where you can find that information on our website. We have, if you go to support.nuance.com/compatibility, we could take a look at supported hardware. You'd select Dragon NaturallySpeaking and go to continue. And if I wanted to look at wired headphones or wireless headphones, let's see if I went to wired headphones, for example, it would give me back a list of models that we've tested, and we have our scoring system here. So the ones that are highest scoring are at the top, and the lowest scoring are towards the bottom.
Okay. Can you expand on the licensing options? What are the differences, between the different? Like we get 10%, we're offering 10% off the different products.
Sure. So the differences between, so I'll start with the academic version, and I don't know why this is launching, sorry. With the academic version, it's special pricing for K through 12 higher ed. And I see what's happening. Sorry, my Dragon microphone was on. Of course, we'll have some technical difficulties towards the end. There we go. Listening to my voice and watching different applications. So again, academic special pricing for that. We have versions of Dragon Professional and Dragon Premium. Now the Premium is for residential use. It allows you to dictate, do some simple commands and control on a home PC. So oftentimes students might use that on their home computer, or independent business professionals that might be a one-person office and it's their home computer. The Dragon Professional Edition is what we recommend for any other organization and use in the business workplace. All the command and controls and the macros are available with Dragon Professional, as well as the transcribing of audio files are available in the Dragon Professional Edition. So this is intended for use in the workforce.
Okay. We have another question. What about Dragon for Mac? Will you be doing a webinar on that version? I have many problems with email dictation. She seems to have some issues with that.
We do not have a webinar scheduled for the Dragon Dictate product. If you are having issues or need further assistance, contact us through Naval Mart and we can get you in the right direction.
Yeah, so we can definitely follow up with you on your Mac issues. How do you add words to the vocabulary?
That's a great question. So up here is my vocabulary tree. I can add new word or phrase here. I can learn from sent emails. I can import words or phrases. So let's say I wanted to add a new word. I don't even know what word to add. Let's see. I'll pretend that this is a word for pen, I guess. Let's just pretend Goten is a word for pen. Goten. So I can add this. This word makes no sense, but it's just if I want to go ahead and train it, Gochen. Open Microsoft Word. I'm illustrating the new word Gochen. So I just added this word to my vocabulary, and it spelled it with the capitalization that I wanted it to. And then if I wanted to delete this word, I can just open my vocabulary editor, go to this fake word I just made up, and go ahead and delete it. So now it's gone. But it's as simple as that.
Cool. Is there a transcription feature for the academic version?
Yes, there is. For the academic professional version, there is, yes.
Is there any other questions out there? I think that is the last one coming in here. Those were great questions. Thanks, you guys, for
thank you very much.
And so, in summary, we just wanted to say, again, thanks for joining us. Melissa, do you mind throwing up the last slide?
Absolutely. I'm happy to do so.
I just wanted to share with everybody a little bit about Naval Mart in case you're new to our company. We are the one-stop solution for over 3,000 assistive technology devices. So you can find very popular products like Dragon, along with many other assistive technology devices online at navalmart.com. I hope that you guys decide to come check us out. And if you want to receive more alerts about future webinars, subscribe to our emails, and we'll be happy to get those in your inbox, and then you can attend, and you won't miss any. So, but again, thank you very much, Melissa and David. We really appreciate it. And everybody on the line, I hope you have a great day.
Thanks all.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.